Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel for a new Dragons Rising video. This video is going to be a recap of the central story of Dragons Rising. The key difference between this series and its predecessor is that Dragons Rising has a long-term story, and this story seems to connect every season of the show. And so far, what we know about the story is that it concerns the main antagonist of the show, Lord Ross. Based on what we know so far, Ross and his unknown master have some sort of grand plan for the Source Dragons and the Merged Realms. And in today's video, we're going to discuss everything we know about Ross's master plan. It all starts with Ross being recruited by his master at some point in the past. Ross previously was a helpless child who had no powers, but that changed when Ross's master found him in the wilderness. Ross's master taught him the value of strength above all else. Now, many years later, Ross is an adult and a trained warrior, and he's ready to carry out the first part of his master's plan. Ross travels to the realm of Imperium, known for its highly advanced technology, and he manages to gain an audience with the Emperor of Imperium. Ross pitches this idea where Imperium technology is used to capture a Source Dragon, and he promises that with his expertise and Imperium's technology, they'd be able to find a Source Dragon to power more than enough energy for Imperium. Unfortunately for Ross, Emperor Levo totally rejects this idea, stating that Imperium lives in harmony with the dragons, and ultimately he doesn't trust Ross. He also doesn't believe Source Dragons exist, and Ross is thrown out of the palace. But he has one final trick. Ross manipulates Princess Beatrix, who is clearly resentful of her father and jealous of her twin sister's elemental powers, as well as the fact that she'll inherit the Empire. Beatrix promises to give Ross all the technology he needs in exchange for her ascendancy to the throne, and so Ross has the Emperor killed and Beatrix's sister exiled. With Beatrix now on the throne, Ross is able to finally capture the Source Dragon of energy. And so the first part of Ross's plan is complete, and he has access to one of the 7 Source Dragons. It's also worth mentioning that the merge occurs sometime around this time, but we don't know if this had to do with the Source Dragon's capture. Additionally, Ross also curses the Cloud Kingdom worms to prevent them from releasing knowledge about the Merge Quakes and the Forbidden Five. The Claws of Imperium capture many dragons and drain them for their energy, but for some reason, despite repeated attempts, nobody's able to drain the Source Dragon. Despite the setback, Ross sets his eyes on capturing a new dragon, Baby Ryu. And at the start of Season 1, Imperium has captured Ryu until Sora, Aaron, and Lloyd break him out. But towards the halfway point of the season, Imperium captures Ryu again. But the Empress proves to be a complete wild card, and she doesn't care about Ross's plan at all. She wants the dragon drained completely. Ross is forced to accept this, but in the end, Ryu ends up escaping again. After this failure, Beatrix betrays Ross and has him jailed. And this is where his manipulation of Beatrix comes to an end. Ross tries to get Beatrix to free him, but to no avail. And during the second half of Season 1, he essentially bides his time until Imperium collapses. As Imperium is collapsing, Jordana becomes the first person to extract a small amount of energy from the Source Dragon. And after Beatrix's defeat, Ross notices this and recruits Jordana to his plan. Ross spends the next year or so building up his army. At some point, he recruits Cinder, the Master of Smoke, and also an army of wolf mask warriors. Once this is complete, Ross and Jordana journey through the Forest of Spirits to the Shadow Dojo, and use the Source Dragon energy to gain access. Now Ross has the Gog of Shattering and the Wolf Masks themselves. But there's one more thing he needs. Ross sends Cinder to retrieve the mallet from the crossroads, which he does successfully. Now Ross has assembled a fully powered up army. Ross now works towards his next goal, freeing the Forbidden Five during the Blood Moon. And first up, he invades Cloud Kingdom, and he gains access to the information needed to carry out the ritual. But he also needs the original spell used to seal away the Forbidden Five. During this season, Ross and his wolf-ass warriors hunt after Bunzel and are eventually able to capture her. He also plans to sacrifice Cloud Kingdom monks to free the Five. But the ritual is disrupted by the ninja. The sacrifices escape, and Bunzel tries to resist the ritual. Despite this, Ross sacrifices Kai and releases Noct, but he is unable to free the other 4, and the spell's failure somehow corrupts Jordana. With no options left, Ross calls to his master for help. In an act of desperation, Ross's master transports him and the entire dojo to a safe location. Ross quickly turns on Noct and subdues him with the control device. And this is where the show stops for now, but the next part of Ross's plan is beginning to look clear. In the second half of Season 2, Ross intends to participate in the Tournament of Sources, which we don't know much about, but he plans to use it to dominate the Source Dragons. It's likely that every Source Dragon will have some sort of representation here, and maybe he wants to use it to gain their powers, or to capture more dragons. We can expect to see the Source Dragon have motion soon, and based on set descriptions, it seems like Ross will be capturing the Source Dragon. And while the specifics remain unknown, it seems like the long-term goal of Ross's plan is to take control over the Source Dragons, or to perhaps overthrow them and gain their powers. And there's still many questions, such as why Ross wanted Ryu specifically, or if the merge is part of or a consequence of Ross's plan. But I feel the coolest part is this isn't Ross's plan. It's his master's plan. And it seems like his master is this really powerful being, who for some reason wants the Source Dragons gone. And I can't wait to learn why, and to see how Ross's plan changes and evolves over the coming seasons. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, share with anyone Devon you know. Let me know where you guys think Ross's plan is heading in the future, and I'll see you guys next time.